human being. And a widow in that town used to come to him and say, "Render a just decision for me against my adversary." For a long time the judge was unwilling, but eventually he thought, "While it is true that I neither fear God nor respect any human being, but because this widow keeps bothering me, I shall deliver a just decision for her, lest she finally come and strike me." The Lord then said, "Pay attention to what the dishonest judge says. Will not God then secure the rights of his chosen ones who call out to him day and night? Will he be slow to answer them? I tell you, he will see to it that justice is done for them speedily. But when the Son of Man comes, will he find faith on earth?" The Gospel of the Lord. Praise be to the Lord.
Jesus Christ.
I hope you don't mind. I am using always this translation that we have done because the language is very, very simple in all the readings. Because of the projection, we don't print anymore. Otherwise, we used to print and give you this with few reflections that we also put in this leaflet that we entitled the Eucalypt. Anyway, I would like to just point out just one or two reflections for our liturgy today, taking our clues from the Gospel. When a woman becomes a widow, she sometimes faces special problems in society. Her husband died. She got over sadness. She became poor most of the time. In most cases, she lost her status in society. At times, she became a prey for sexual lusts, and the list goes on. She is defenseless. She is voiceless. This is the background of our gospel reading this morning. One widow was finding that she was being given a raw deal for her right that is just to her. And so, as we read in the gospel, she went with her problems to one of the judges in town, hoping to get some redress. The judge was not by any chance a God-fearing man, as we heard in the gospel. Neither did he care for people, much less the poor, the moneyless, the defenseless, the voiceless, like the widow we heard in the gospel. She obviously not in a position to offer him bribe that some presume the judge may wanted. Or maybe he was more favorably disposed towards the other party that perhaps were more wealthy and held a greater standing in society. The gospel said he was plainly unfit and unjust. But the helpless widow nevertheless prevailed over the unjust and powerful judge. This was not because the man had any change of heart. What concerned him more was the fact that she was pestering him a lot. He is literally disturbed by her constant reminder about her right, about her dues. He wanted to shoo her off, as it were. And the only way he saw open to him was to give her her rights, lest, as the gospel says, she worries him to death. The conclusion that Jesus draws from the story is this: if the powerful judge, who is immoral, who is unjust as he was, could see justice done to the poor, helpless widow because of her pestering, how much more would a gracious, a loving, a merciful God help those who seek him? And so Jesus urges his disciples, Jesus urges us to pray to pray continually and never give up like that poor and helpless widow in the gospel. In 2015, on the 17th of January, Pope Francis visited us in the Philippines. And on the 17th of January, he addressed a gathering of almost 20,000 young people in the campus of the University of Santo Tomas. After listening to the stories of thousands of young people who have lost their parents, who have lost their siblings in the Yolanda typhoon, Pope Francis was overwhelmed. He said, "I don't have answer, but please keep crying. Please disturb God to give you your dues." These were the words he spoke while he met the young people in the University of Santo Tomas. Who among is not poor? Who among us who are not defenseless and voiceless? We are all. By the fact that we have committed so many sins and we fail in our lives is because we are powerless. We have become defenseless. We are enslaved by the devil. Today's gospel, dear friends, reminds us no matter how weak we have become, no matter how poor spiritually we have reached, if we keep crying and pestering God, God will give us the victory. God will give us our dues, because He is a loving God, He is a merciful God. Therefore, the first reading gives us a very, very fine example. The Israelite, weak, few in numbers, poor with no arm and ammunitions, were attacked by the powerful Amalekites. But the Israelites, as we heard in the gospel, won the battle because Moses, an old man now, could not even go to fight. So he delegated Joshua to lead the armless Israelites, while he himself went up to the mountain to pray, to raise his hand. And as we have heard in the first reading from the book of Exodus, as he raised his hand, the Israelites prevailed. They were given the power to win. But when Moses is tired and weak, when the hands keep falling, the Amalekites would prevail in the battle. So as we heard in the first reading, to keep the hands of Moses up in prayer, Aaron and Hur supported his hand until the war was won victoriously by the Israelites. I think this is a very, very great lesson for all of us, dear friends. If we want to win the battle of the devil, who keeps suppressing us down every day, we need to come up to the mountain. We need to raise our hands and pray. We need to also seek other people to support us in praying. And as a community, when one is weak, when they can raise their hands anymore in prayer, we need to support them like Aaron and Hur, and not gossip or condemn them. It is sad that when a leader of the church or of the congregation or of the family fail in his or in her spiritual life, instead of supporting him or her, most of the time we condemn him or her and gossip about them. Therefore, the liturgy today asks us, can we be like Aaron and Hur, supporting them with our hands together? I would like to end with this, which I would say the core teaching of today's liturgy is this: keep disturbing God for your favor. Raise your hands, and if you know that you are tired and weak, be humbled and seek the support of your community members. Let us do that for some time now and pray for people who are defenseless, for people who are voiceless.